I learned a lot at that.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah, well, I didn't say anything about it, and I got to sign the first person.
Now?
Hi, yeah, you guys are being cool, so I figured
we got the poster, the first person that came up with the RWBY poster, and I started to sign it text, and I went, whoa. I said, Glenda, and I put these lightning bolts on each end of my Glenda name, and I'm like,
Kathleen,
this is badass.
Kathleen came up to me and said she wants to do something different, and I'm absolutely a fan of that, because if you go watch, for example, actually, if you go watch the Yellow trailer, there's a quote in front. It says, people are not one-sided, people don't fit into categories, because humans are not box-shaped, and that we should be grateful for any time someone shows us a side of them that we were not expecting. So to take Kathleen from text, the beat 'em up, hard as knuckles character who was always punching people in the balls, to a sorceress, a huntress named Glinda Goodwitch, who's partially inspired from Glinda from The Wizard of Oz, was a good thing, essentially, to have a soft-spoken character who's there to guide others. Especially we have this freshman crew of actresses who need guidance. It's so symbolic, honestly, right?
Yeah, you're right.
To have this older teacher who's got experience under her belt, not that much older, who has experience under her belt to help guide this new, fresh set of fresh faces in a new show. There's so much about the show that has its resonance and truth, because I take a lot of inspiration from reality. I say there's truth in growing up, there's truth in people. So if you draw from truth, and I mean I get in trouble with this sometimes with Bernie, he says you shouldn't hold things too closely to your heart. I say this is why it's good, because it will resonate with people. And so there's truth in the show that actually will resonate with people, because it's all there. It comes from a real place.
It's funny because one of my questions was actually asking you if you would make do some voice acting, and then I went to the RWBY panel and I was like, oh well, never mind then, we got it. She's totally in. So that was really awesome. With that trailer in the first episode, you've been sitting on that, waiting for that release for so long.
Yeah.
Working on it for so long. I mean, Bernie mentioned that you've been working on RWBY for over a year. Like, just putting it together, working on it. How did that feel? Like, just that moment of it's finally out there, people have seen it, or is it that big moment going to be when it comes out in 2 weeks?
No, the big thing right now. I mean, there's a lot of that as well, because there's so many things in the air. Is more, we got to work on the next one, or the next 10, because we want to make sure we deliver. We got to deliver on a timely thing. As much as we want to be artists about this, the thing I'm big on, and I tell all the other artists on this project, I'm successful by being able to churn that off, by being not an artist and being more like Kathleen, quite honestly, who was a producer. If you're purely an artist, we were just talking about this, and you set goals for yourself. I say don't set time limits for your art, but set schedules for what you deliver, because artists will, if you give an artist forever, they will take forever. Because if you're an artist, you know what I mean. I started succeeding when I said, I'm done here. I don't care how good it is. The product is what you see. Essentially, everything us as artists make is it's good enough for everyone but ourselves. And whatever you make out there will receive criticism, and especially criticisms from other artists as well. But I've always felt that if another artist shares your path, they should also understand your hardship, and knowing if they were in your position, it would be just as hard to deliver, and they would understand the plight of your failures. So willingly take those failures. It's quite fine, because I could go back over. I have plenty of my old work and say, oh, I failed here, and I failed here, and I failed here. From an ancillary point of view, any other viewer just sees the product as a whole. And there's a lot of unlike my other work in the past, though, there's a lot to this product. There's voices for one. There's acting in general. Although there's motion acting in my previous work. There's acting in this one. So it requires more than I have hands for, and that's why we have 60 hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do. Yeah, you have to. And that's where Monty's grown, because Monty's had to take what's inside his head and put it out to all the artists that we work with. And that's one of the hardest things to learn how to do, to kind of let go of your baby. It's like, and it's not letting go, but it is letting go. It's kind of like entrusting these other artists to something that you believe in.
I was saying earlier, you could be J.R.R. Tolkien and keep it within yourself and write it by yourself, and then maybe
be that lucky to find a studio that wants to.
Yeah, and maybe so many years after your death, someone makes your dream movie, if they do it good enough, and find success when you're 80 years old or plus, or even better, the more pure artists that we admire think Tchaikovsky is what I'm thinking of. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Musicians who have only success in their works 200 years after
After
dead.
they died, yeah.
Do you want to be that guy? We live in a much faster culture, and yes, it requires some level of quote unquote selling out. I'd rather call it compromise. To be too much of an artist is not good for your health.
Yeah, I don't think you sold out at all.
Yeah,
I really
especially. I mean, in the nature of this project, I'm just selling out to other artists, and I'm
Mhm.
letting them have it.
Mhm.
So that's perfectly fine.
Right.
I mean, I've always felt that my artists are far more talented than me, anyways, because I don't come from a legitimate background. I'm self-taught. I cheat and I take as many easy advantages as possible. My team are legitimately trained animators, modelers, designers, and they do everything from a much more traditional sense. The guidance I give them isn't on a technical or skill level, it's on a creative level. Perform it this way, angle that camera that way, this lens would be like this from just, small experiences of, vision and not creation.
Alright, well with Kathleen being from the original Blood Gulch 8, and then you've been in the company since, what was it, like season 8, which
Yes.
has been here. You guys are part of the like the core of Rooster Teeth, and you've got all these new people coming in, and it's the next generation of people, and how's that like with
We hate him.
passing? So kind of passing the baton, but at the same time you're there as like, I feel like as a guiding kind of mentor there
I'll
for
tell
the
you,
new people.
from my standpoint, here's what I like. The young people that we work with that actually tap in and ask for that experience and knowledge, I respect.
Yeah.
Not everybody does that. That's okay. But passing the baton, I feel like, yeah, there's definitely areas that, I don't get involved with Achievement Hunter, and that's all good, and there's certain things, Rooster Teeth is growing so big, but sometimes we're a family, but I do miss sometimes that, God, what's the word? I don't know if it's like an overall respect, from the youngsters that have started up with us sometimes. I mean, they're coming in from a whole different generation, and they've got their whole gig, and they're doing it, and they're having a good time with it. So, I mean, I love them all.
There's
But,
a required level of humility that comes from working.
yeah,
Humility is something
that comes
I'm big
with experience.
on. It comes with experience, which
Yeah.
is oddly backwards, honestly. I think in the past, when you have, a teacher-student, like a sensei, student, any type of mentor-type relationship, in the past, your failure meant your death. Essentially, if you didn't
Yeah.
succeed. A lot of our guys are pretty starry-eyed. It's like, I'm now in this company. This means many great things for me. But they all keep when the chips are down, they put their heads down and get to work. But we definitely need to keep on point. I've even had times where it's like, I like the parties. It's not a party, but we come to the office. Everyone is friends. And they work together. They enjoy each other's company. But there comes a day where we need to hit a point, and it's like, let's get to it.
You got deadlines, you got quotas, you got to work hard.
And some of us get better at seeing the big picture than others, and
Right.
you stare down that tunnel and say, look, it's coming at us. I'm going to eat my lunch at my desk.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Or
Yeah.
I'll say, I'm buying lunch for everybody. What are we going to get?
Yeah.
Monty's good about texting me, hey, the troops are hungry. What do you want to do?
That's true. Very often I say, my
no
guys.
problem. Let's do it.
Yeah, and we definitely will cater to that.
Kathleen, you have a lot of experience working with like children's shows or movies and with the Clifford and everything. Did that help? Was that one of the influences with keeping RWBY all ages appropriate, or was that just another thing that just happened to happen?
Can I tell you, I was really happy. I mean, Monty and then Miles and Carrie were really they came and said that's how they wanted to do it from the very beginning. I was very on board with that. I'm very happy about it.
It was. I mean, you could say it's my call, but it's more like me wanting to be more responsible about our audience, and more so identifying that.
Although I will have to say, when you're not around, and we've had some modeling stuff, and they'd show me pictures of some of the girls in specific different costumes, I'd be like, no, this is up, panties lower. I mean, I'm pretty adamant about that. And we do have one animator who really likes to make the jiggle of the bosom of Yang really go, and I'll be like,
Tone
would
it
you
down, please.
stop it?
Tone it down,
How many
please.
times do I have to tell you, tone it down? We don't need to see it. It's gonna, But anyways, yeah, no, he's
But
really on top
the,
of
the,
that.
the impetus for that was actually more so. I mean, look, I don't know where I got the reputation for being like this kind of I guess I made a movie with Dead or Alive Girls, which has a bad enough reputation as it is.
I didn't know you have a bad reputation.
have a bad
I wouldn't say it a bad rep, but a rep for girls.
Okay.
I mean, for
Vouch
one,
for Bow Wow.
I'm by no means am I a ladies' man. I'm horrible at talking to girls. I'm not even looking at you right now. I'm looking past you.
I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at
It's
you.
okay, you don't have to look at me, I don't look at me either.
And I mean, I'm not popular with girls by any means. And
You should get on the internet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is he talking about? Anyways, but what's your point?
when it comes to it, I treasure all the RWBY girls like they're my daughters, if anything.
Yes.
And it's like I would never want to put them in like ridiculous situations or anything like that. It's you cherish your friends. You don't want to put them on like a up there as like some sort of voyeurism or any sense.
Right.
It's like my favorite thing about coming up with characters is honoring characters, and I like the archetypes that we have built because they're inspired from reality and such. And if you value the input that's been given into it by the writers, the actors, etc., you don't want to berate them in any way. So, and I mean, even then, it's like we can get away with what we're doing without swearing. If we don't, I know our company is pretty lewd in general.
But that's
and
what I'm really happy about RWBY.
We're okay with that, but I mean, in some sense, you get kind of numb to it. We can be okay. I mean, I even think part of it might be we'll do Gavin swears.
How nice was it that I was able to say to you that your little brother, could watch it?
I can watch it at home with him.
Exactly.
It's a family thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys very much.
Hey, it's our pleasure. It's so
really
nice
nice to meet
Thank
both
you.
of you.
Nice to meet you again in person, sweetheart.
Yeah.